What is the meaning of this life? If you truly don't know who you are? You may have heard about awakening from social media, from a book, a lecture, or someone who has told you about it. But are those things really true? Awakening is not a transcendent state that you will achieve when you are intelligent enough, enlightened enough, or diligent enough. Nor is it a path to escape all suffering and find eternal peace. In reality, awakening is not what you know. It's not about suddenly becoming perfect, getting everything you want, or living in endless happiness. On the contrary, it challenges everything you once believed, your beliefs, identity, and even the dreams that once defined who you are. Everything will be broken. Misconception 1: Awakening is the ultimate destination. Have you ever thought that awakening is a destination? A place where all difficulties, suffering, and anxieties will disappear, giving way to happiness and perfection forever? In reality, the opposite is true. Awakening is not a stopping point but a door that leads you to a longer journey. Each new level of awareness comes with new challenges. Just when you think you understand everything, you will realize there are deeper things to explore. If you view awakening as a mountain peak, you will easily be disappointed when you realize there are many other peaks to conquer. This may surprise you, but this continuation is the core of growth. Misconception 2: Awakening means eternal happiness. This concept is often painted with romantic images, a peaceful life, a soul free from anxiety. But awakening does not bring endless happiness. On the contrary, it increases your awareness of pain and the dark parts within yourself. You cannot escape them as before, you must face them directly. Happiness in awakening does not come from eliminating suffering but from learning to accept it as part of life. This is not a state of detachment but a harmony between the good and the unpleasant. Misconception 3: Only special people awaken. Awakening is often considered a journey reserved for those with extraordinary intelligence or abilities. The truth is that anyone can awaken. This is not a privilege but a potential for everyone. You don't need to be a perfect person or superior to others to awaken. The only condition is a willingness to face yourself, both the parts you are proud of and the parts you have hidden. Awakening is not a title or a measure of value but a unique and incomparable personal journey. Misconception 4: Awakening helps overcome all problems. Many people believe that awakening will solve all life's problems, but in reality, it doesn't make difficulties disappear, it changes how you perceive and confront them. Life will always have challenges, and internal conflicts and anxieties will always exist. The difference is that an awakened person no longer avoids problems. They realize that difficulties are opportunities to understand themselves more deeply. They no longer see them as obstacles but as motivation for growth. In summary, awakening does not bring perfection nor does it promise a state of detachment. It is a continuous journey for you to learn to live authentically with yourself. It teaches you to integrate both light and shadow, to learn to accept pain and turn it into strength. If you agree with H9 Radio Shared Perspective, please leave a comment below. If you feel quite surprised by these truths, then wait. You will learn much more practical knowledge in the next parts of this video. Darkness in the journey of awakening. As you know, when thinking about the journey of awakening, you probably envision the brilliant light of enlightenment, a miraculous liberation from all bonds, where you are embraced in a state of eternal peace. But what lies behind that light? It's not the fairy tale everyone hopes for. It's not salvation either, but a stripping bare of everything so you can truly see yourself. And it is there that the real journey of awakening begins. Inner darkness and shadow work. The concept of shadow work, or working with darkness, was introduced by Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, as a way to access and work with the dark parts within oneself. According to Carl Jung, everyone has a shadow part, emotions, thoughts, memories, or behaviors that we intentionally hide or refuse to acknowledge. Darkness is not evil, it is simply what we do not want to recognize. It can be anger, jealousy, fear, or unhealed pain. By suppressing them, we do not make them disappear, we only make them operate subconsciously, affecting our decisions, emotions, and how we live. shadow work requires you to bravely look directly at these parts of yourself. Not to eliminate them but to understand that they are a natural part of your wholeness. When you confront and integrate with the darkness, you release the life energy that was consumed in hiding or suppressing it. The dark night of the soul. From a Buddhist perspective, the state known as the dark night of the soul is not unfamiliar. Before attaining enlightenment, the Buddha had to face a period of extreme suffering. A period that did not resemble peace but was an uncompromising battle with the ego, fears, and deep-seated ambitions. It was in that moment that all illusions about the meaning of life dissolved, leaving an empty, ambiguous space that also held the potential for enlightenment. Before sitting under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha underwent the final trials created by Mara, which were illusions of power, the corruption of fear, and the seductive call of worldly desires. But instead of avoiding them, he chose to confront them. This was not just a psychological test but also a symbol of the dark night of the soul, a time when all the meanings we once held suddenly collapse, and we must stand before our own abyss, with no one accompanying us on this journey. 3 main feelings often appear: loss, loneliness, and ambiguity. You realize that all the things you once considered important, fame, possessions, or even relationships, are not enough to fill the emptiness within. They are just temporary pieces, never completing the picture of life's true meaning. Like the Buddha, you will feel left alone in the darkness of your consciousness, with no one able to enter this realm for you. This very loneliness forces you to confront the deepest part of yourself. Ambiguity. Every goal, plan, and belief that once served as a guiding compass seems to lose its value. You begin to wonder if everything you once pursued had any meaning. What is life really? Such questions are not a sign of failure but proof that you are moving closer to the truth. Just as the Buddha was absent for many years, this ambiguity is an opportunity for you to dismantle layers of illusion, let go of old beliefs, and see reality in its raw form. Through the Buddha's experience, we learn that the dark night of the soul is not an end but a stepping stone for rebirth. When you let go of all attachments, abandon the need for control, and learn to face impermanence, you will discover new values, deeper meanings that were previously obscured by ambitions and fears. In Buddhism, this stage is not seen as a meaningless crisis but as a necessary transformation. It is only when you touch the depths of pain that you can open your heart to embrace true clarity and freedom. The Buddha overcame it, and so can you. The only question is whether you are ready to sit under your own Bodhi tree, face the darkness, and let your inner light guide the way. In summary, the darkness in the journey of awakening is not an enemy but a teacher. It brings you face to face with hidden corners, parts you once refused to acknowledge, and it is in that darkness that you can find true light. Light does not come from perfection but from acceptance and integration with all aspects of yourself. You are called an awakened being when you live in the present. Living mindfully in the present is one of the core skills to reconnect with yourself and the world around you. However, in the busy pace of modern life, we often get caught up in the flow of thoughts about the past or anxieties about the future. Have you ever found yourself sitting down to eat but not tasting the food? Or participating in a conversation but your mind drifting elsewhere? This happens not because we don't want to be present, but because the human mind inherently operates like a constantly flowing river. Mindful living is the ability to bring your consciousness back to the present, away from unnecessary preoccupations, to truly live in the unfolding moment. Mindfulness is not an unfamiliar state but an inherent ability of everyone. It's how you perceive fully without judgment, without trying to change or control anything. The interesting thing is that you have experienced it before, moments when you were completely absorbed in a beautiful sunset, a favorite song, or the gentle feeling of holding a loved one's hand. But the problem is that these moments are often fleeting. To maintain mindfulness, you need conscious practice and cultivation. This does not require a major change or a perfect environment. On the contrary, it starts with the smallest things in daily life. One way to practice mindfulness is through mindfulness meditation. H9 Radio shared details about this technique in a previous video. This is a simple but powerful focusing technique. You don't need to sit on a yoga mat or be in a quiet room to start. Just sit comfortably, close your eyes, and pay attention to your breath. Feel the air flowing in and out of your body. When your mind wanders, don't try to stop or judge it. Simply notice and gently bring your attention back to your breath. This exercise, if practiced regularly every day, not only helps you focus more but also increases your ability to control emotions and reduce stress. Besides meditation, you can apply mindfulness to daily activities such as eating. Instead of eating quickly, stop and savor the taste, color, and texture of each dish. This not only helps you connect with your body but also makes the meal a more memorable experience. Another method is body scanning, which involves bringing your attention sequentially through each part of your body from head to toe, feeling sensations without trying to change anything. This process helps you recognize hidden tensions and release them. However, living mindfully is not always easy, especially when you have to deal with uncomfortable emotions or complex situations. Sometimes the present exposes pains you once tried to avoid, but it is in those moments that you have the opportunity to understand and heal yourself. Mindfulness is not about escaping reality but about learning to accept it with all that it brings, including pain, because pain is not an enemy. It is a teacher that reminds you to look deeper into yourself. The important thing is that you don't have to be perfect to live mindfully. Mindfulness is not a destination you must reach but a journey you choose every day. There will be days when it feels easier, but there will also be days when your mind is filled with distractions. That is completely normal. The key is to recognize and gently bring yourself back to the present without judgment or self-blame. Remember that mindfulness is the ability to harmonize with both the light and darkness within you. Living in the present doesn't mean you only enjoy positive things, but also that you must face imperfect aspects. When you learn to accept both, you will become more complete, no longer bound by unrealistic standards. This brings you true freedom, a state of peace independent of external circumstances. You don't need to do anything grand to live mindfully. You just need to be present. Pay attention to the sounds around you, feel your own breath, and cherish every moment, no matter how small. When you choose to be present, you will realize that the present is not just where you live, but where you truly belong. This presence is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to those around you. The role of relationships. Relationships are not just simple social interactions, but the clearest mirror reflecting yourself. The journey of awakening will teach you this. Every emotion, reaction, and conflict you experience with others is actually an invitation to understand yourself better. What makes you love, cherish, or hate in others originates from deep parts of your soul that you need to identify. Others are not the problem, they are the mirror that helps you see the hidden corners you often avoid. Have you ever felt hurt by an unintentional remark from someone else? Or found yourself annoyed with someone even though they didn't do anything outrageous? In reality, these feelings often don't entirely come from their actions, but from unhealed wounds within you. A criticism can hurt you deeply not because it's right or wrong, but because it touches an inner fear, the fear that you are not good enough, not recognized, or not worthy. This is the phenomenon of projection that C.G. Jung referred to. The emotional characteristics we deny in ourselves are often projected onto others. When you see arrogance, selfishness, or weakness in someone, ask yourself what this is reflecting in you. Difficult relationships are the most important lessons. The people who make you angry or disappointed are the ones who unconsciously help you recognize parts of yourself that need attention. Instead of criticizing them, you can ask yourself why you reacted so strongly. What within me am I reflecting through this emotion? Relationships don't only have darkness. Those who love you unconditionally are proof of the light within you. When they trust, support, and are tolerant, they are reflecting the good qualities that you sometimes forget you possess. Looking at them, you will see the compassion, patience, and capacity for love hidden within yourself. Of course, not everyone will accompany you on this journey. As you change, some relationships may become strained or even break. This is not a failure, it simply means that you and they are on different paths. Loneliness may appear, but this is also an opportunity for you to learn to appreciate yourself and truly suitable relationships. This change does not require you to abandon those who don't empathize, but to learn to accept that everyone has their own journey. To maintain balance, it's important to communicate honestly and empathetically, rather than trying to convince others to understand you. Share your experiences with humility, and listen without judgment, as this helps you connect more deeply with them. Practicing tolerance is also a way to free yourself from unrealistic expectations. No one is perfect, and their imperfections help you recognize the imperfections within yourself. Remember that in every relationship, light and shadow always coexist, just as you learn to love the imperfect parts of yourself. The foundation of true enlightenment is humility and service when it comes to the journey of awakening. Many people immediately think of enlightenment as a transcendent state, separate from worldly needs or connections. But the truth is, the deeper you go into this journey, the more you will realize the value of connection and service. Awakening is not about elevating you above others, but about becoming a meaningful part of the whole. In this, humility does not make you small. It opens the door for you to see the true vastness of the world and your role within it. The story of the Buddha is the most vivid proof. He did not attain enlightenment by completely separating himself from the world, but rather, it was within the world that he found the meaning of compassion and service. When he saw the suffering of humanity, the Buddha did not choose his own path of peace but returned, bringing the light of enlightenment to all. That was not abandonment but the pinnacle of humility. Understanding that true enlightenment is not to be possessed but to be shared. Humility is not about devaluing yourself or denying what you have achieved, but rather the realization that true value lies in your contribution and integration into the common flow of life. Sometimes, we easily fall into the subtle trap of the ego, where spiritual achievements or profound understanding become tools for us to feel superior to others. But the ego, even when cloaked in the guise of enlightenment, is still just another form of bondage. Humility helps you overcome that trap to see that awakening is not about you but about how you connect with the world around you. Service is the most authentic way to practice humility. When you serve with an open heart, without expecting anything in return, you will realize that you are not only helping others but also healing yourself. Service does not have to be grand, it is not symbolic actions for others to admire, but small things done from a sincere heart. A farmer sowing seeds in a field does not need anyone to know him, but his golden ripe rice feeds an entire village. Service does not require recognition, because the happiness of the community itself is the greatest reward. This world does not need more people trying to prove their greatness. The world needs people who are willing to listen, empathize, and act from compassion. So, are you ready to step out of your comfort zone to make a difference? However small but meaningful? Remember that sometimes a small action from you can light up another person's life. And in that connection, you will find your own true light. Is awakening truly necessary? Spiritual awakening is often seen as the pinnacle of the human journey, but is it truly necessary for everyone? Or is it just one of many different ways of life that people can choose? For many, a fulfilling life does not necessarily have to go through inner darkness or complex spiritual journeys. Is a person who lives simply, content with family, work, and small daily joys, lacking anything compared to someone seeking awakening? H9 Radio asserts that what is most important is not whether you awaken or not, but whether you live true to your authentic self. The imposition that everyone must awaken can become an unnecessary pressure, devaluing other journeys. A person who finds happiness in caring for their family, doing work they love, and living in harmony with everyone has reached a balance. Such a life does not need to delve deep into spirituality to be truly meaningful to oneself and content with the present. Sometimes, that is enough to create a worthwhile life. No two people are alike, and everyone's life journey has its own unique colors. For some, awakening is an irresistible call. For others, living peacefully with what they have is already the pinnacle of happiness. The important thing is to respect differences. Not everyone needs to awaken, and that is not a measure of human worth. In summary, the journey of awakening is not a destination but a continuous self-discovery. It does not bring a perfect state or eliminate all difficulties. Instead, awakening teaches you to accept that life is a complex symphony, where light and shadow coexist and complement each other. Awakening does not require you to be special or superior. That is a journey back to your true self, confronting the pains and dark sides you once hid, and from there finding freedom. What you need is not perfection, but an authentic presence in every moment. Awakening, after all, is not about escaping this world, but learning to immerse yourself in it. Seeing reality with awakened eyes and an open heart, life becomes meaningful not because you reach some transcendent state, but because you dare to live fully with yourself, accepting every aspect and loving yourself. Remember that this journey has no end, and that is its beauty. Every day you wake up, that light has another chance to ignite, even in the simplest things. That is when you are present, loving, and true to yourself. And that is what makes this life worth living. If you learned anything from this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos from H9 Radio. Don't forget to share the video with your loved ones. Wishing you much health.